Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Sad Dad Games podcast. My name's Eric.
I'm Shan.
And I'm Emerlie.
And you are listening to another episode of Eric's Indie Corner. Yay, we love Eric's Indie Corner. At least I love Eric's Indie Corner.
I'm getting kind of
it's all right.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the same thing in and out. Eric picks an indie game that he loves, and he talks about it for 20 to 30 minutes, and then we all go home,
I feel harangued.
I was just talking to Shan on the phone, and I'm like, I am so impressed with how many games Eric has played. You've played so many indie games, and you have yet to run out of any material. I'm very impressed. I don't know how you do that with kids.
Well, I've been doing it for a while is the answer. So I actually was going through my list of indie games and how many I have left. And I have, let's see here, probably about 30 or 40 other good ones that I have ready to go. And so I need to start picking up the pace and adding some more to that list, or I'm going to start running out of indie games. So I've been toying around also with the idea of Eric's Indies / Oldies, because I play a lot of old video games too. So maybe I'll start doing some episodes that are not strictly indie games, but that are oldies, like NES, Super Nintendo, just little quick episodes about things like that. And that might be fun. So if that's something you'd like to see, let me know in the comments. Be like, Eric, I love old games, and you're an old man, so let's do it.
You also might have to pick up a Steam Deck so you can start playing some indies on Steam.
Yeah, maybe.
You can do most of it on the
Or I'll just keep
Switch,
playing all of them on my Switch, yeah.
But it doesn't give you complete access, and I'm just saying that you
true.
can get them for pretty cheap there, and it'll give you a much bigger library.
I think
Something
that's
to
great
consider.
about indie games is that they're so short typically. They're little bite-sized games for the most part. So it can take maybe 2 hours. It can take 10. If you're like me and you've played all Hollow Knight, then you've logged over 100 hours. So you're able to get through so many. But yeah, Steam Deck, I've been borrowing Shan's, and the great thing about that is you can play the indie games. I tried to play, I've been working through the Resident Evil series, and the biggest issue with that is that these are games that are originally GameCube games. And so while you're playing the game, it'll say, okay, switch to the next disc. And I'm like, there's no disc.
I don't know how I do that, yeah.
I don't know how to do that. And so you won't have that issue with indie games for sure. But yeah, I ran into that issue with GameCube games.
It's in the Steam Deck. It's so simple.
The files are inside the computer.
Inside the computer?
So if you guys want to expand, the library of indie games that I have access to, if I haven't covered your favorite indie game yet, then, donate some dollars to me. Say, Eric, this is for you to buy a Steam Deck. And no, I mean, I could. I don't want to. But so
you're not flat broke from the
I'm
Switch
not
2?
flat broke. No, I mean,
I swear you spent
I'm doing
$1,000 on that.
I did spend a lot of money.
A lot of money.
It just kept, every time they announced something, the bill got a little bit bigger. Yeah.
All right, well, this is an awful amount of banter. I forgot why we were here.
Yeah, so why we are here is because this is an episode of Eric's Indie Corner, and today the indie game that we're going to be talking about is a brand new one, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. So, are you guys familiar with the Ninja Gaiden series at all, Ninja Gaiden series?
No.
No, I was just going to ask you if you said Gaiden or Gaiden, because I don't know which one is right. So in comments, I'm going to plug every so many times for the comments today, you guys. In the comments, let me know, is it Ninja Gaiden or Ninja Gaiden? For all of you super
Now
fans.
we're long shower with Gaiden.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep
that doesn't even make
flopping
sense.
back and forth. Ninja Gaiden and Ninja Gaiden as we talk about it today. I'm gonna say both, just to annoy both sides of this argument. So, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound is a 2D action platformer developed by The Game Kitchen, and it just released recently, July 31st, of 2025. And this is one that has always was on my radar pretty much as soon as they announced it. I love 2D action platformers. I'm actually not super familiar with the Ninja Gaiden series. I've never played any of them before. I played a little bit of Ninja Gaiden for Xbox, the first 3D one. I played it for 30 minutes, and I was like, this game's too hard. I'm having a bad time. And then I stopped playing. Well,
is that why you play indie games? Because they're not too hard for you?
Well, this is a bad example of that because this game's actually quite difficult.
Oh.
But there's a wide range of that. Some of them are easy, some of them are hard. But Ninja Gaiden games are famously pretty difficult. And this one is no exception. It's not as like, you know, insanely hard as the old NES games. Those ones are notoriously famous for their difficulty, but this one's not so bad. But fun fact about this game, it was developed, so Game Kitchen is also, they're an indie dev studio that has made the Blasphemous games. So Blasphemous 1 and Blasphemous 2 are very popular, well-known indie games that are known for their dark, bloody, strange atmosphere and beautiful pixel art. And so the folks at Koei Tecmo approached Game Kitchen and were like, hey, we love how, you know, pixely and pretty and bloody your games are. Would you like to make a Ninja Gaiden game? And they said, yes, we would. And so that's how this game came to be. So on Eric's Indie Corner, I like to break it down into 3 categories as we chat about this game. We're going to talk a little bit about story, then gameplay, and then visuals and sound, just to give you guys kind of an idea of what I think about this game, some strengths, some weaknesses, and just all sorts of fun things about it. So to start off with story, you play as a Kenji, who is a ninja of the Hayabusa clan. Demons have invaded your village and the world. Demons are bad. And so you have to go off and kill the demons. And for those of you who are Ninja Gaiden fans, this game runs, as I was doing my research, I'm pretty sure this is right, but as I'm not very familiar with the series, I might be wrong. So if I am wrong, let me know. But as I understand it, that the plot of this game runs concurrently with the first Ninja Gaiden for the NES. So as you play as Ryu Hayabusa in that game, you go off to America. So at the beginning of this game, demons attack, and then Kenji goes up to Ryu, and he's like, I gotta go to America to go do the events of Ninja Gaiden 1. And he was like, all right, I'm gonna stay here and kill demons. And so that's a fun little Easter egg for people who are fans of the series. You get to see what's going on in the Hayabusa hometown while Ryu's off in America doing ninja things. So it's a simple story, simple setup. You're a ninja, you kill demons. After not too long, though, Kenji comes across a Spider Clan ninja named, what was her name? Kimori. And she is dying, and her spirit inhabits Kenji's body, and she lends some of her abilities to you. The Hayabusa clan and the Spider Clan are sworn enemies. They hate each other, and so watching them kind of join forces and collaborate together is a fun little dynamic that adds a little bit of extra flavor to the dialogue and to the story proceedings, but not so much that it distracts from the good old-fashioned demon slashing. So, as with a lot of action platformers and a lot of indie games that I really enjoy, the story is pretty minimal. It just is there to serve the gameplay. But the parts of the story that are there are enjoyable and are, well done. So, So now to the meat and potatoes, the gameplay. So this game plays sort of like a mix of modern and classic ninja style games. I don't know, how many ninja games have you guys played? Favorite ninja game? Go.
It is an underserved genre. I don't think I've played any ninja games.
No ninja games?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Ooh, there we go. Ninja Turtles is a good answer.
I think of that as a turtle game.
Yeah.
Well, they're the Ninja Turtles. You're going to play the Ninja
second.
Turtles.
I mean,
no, a lot of horror games. I would love to see a horror ninja game, but yeah, there's not. This is an underserved genre.
Which is insane because ninjas are awesome. So, I mean, I've dabbled here and there. I actually did just remember I did play a Ninja Gaiden game for the DS. I forget what it was called, but I played that one. I played Ghost of Tsushima is kind of like a samurai slash ninja game. Feel like it's more samurai than ninja.
Samurai.
Assassin's Creed, if you're really wanting to stretch, those could be kind of a ninja game. I played another cool game called Mark of the Ninja, which is an indie game that we'll cover again on this channel. That if you haven't played, you totally should. That game rules. But yeah, so gameplay for this one is pretty straightforward, but really, really fun. You run around and you slash demons, and it's really simple and cathartic. Kenji's moveset isn't too complicated, but it is versatile. So you can run and jump and wall climb, and you can cling to ceilings as well. And then you have your sword slash, and you have your secondary projectile attack from Kimori, as well as you can do like some screen clearing special attacks and healing attacks and things like that. And then you get this kind of guillotine slash, which is like, it's pretty cool. It's like you do a jump and then you do a little like flip and it allows you to kind of pogo off of the top of enemies. So if you played games like DuckTales or Shovel Knight where you're bouncing around on top of it, or Hollow Knight where you're bouncing around on top of enemies, it's kind of like that. It gives you options to attack and bounce around in the air. So there's parts of the game where you're really just kind of cruising around and you're slashing enemies and you're barely even touching the ground, and that always makes you feel like a super cool ninja. So gameplay is fluid and fun and violent, and it's just a good time.
So my question, I did watch the trailer. So this is a platformer. It looks like a Metroidvania. And I want to know, do you pick up all these skills along the way? Do you start with the skills?
Yeah, so it is not really a Metroidvania. It's very level based. So it's, this level, that level. It's extremely linear in that way. There are some bonus levels that you can do as well, but there are like some secrets and collectibles and little things hidden throughout the levels. So there is some, kind of side areas and exploration, but the levels are largely very linear. So if that's something that you're into, sometimes it's nice to not have a big world to explore, to just kind of go through the levels, if that's what you're craving. But that is kind of one small gripe I had with this game, is I felt like Kenji's moveset didn't evolve a lot over the course of the game. You unlocked, as you went along, you could unlock new badges or medals or whatever to equip that would give passive buffs, or would give you different special attacks. But there wasn't a lot that changed how you approached situations and changed his sort of basic moveset. It stayed pretty much the same from start to finish. And so I felt like it might have been a little more interesting to watch the character grow gameplay-wise a little more than he did, but,
I can see the reasoning with that. He's already a master ninja.
Yeah.
And like you said, this character from an older game went off to America and was like, I'm going to go ninja fight people over here. Peace out, Girl Scout. And he just he can't leave some unskilled ninja to fight all these demons in their hometown area. Yeah. So he's got to be a master already. But I can see as a gamer where that could be kind of frustrating, that you're not learning as you go. But this just seems like a big slasher game.
Yeah.
If the ninja himself has a flat power fantasy, then does the level itself increase in difficulty? Is there any difficulty curve there?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, the levels definitely become quite a bit more difficult as you go along. Like I said, it's a fairly challenging game. And one of the cool things about that challenge is that it's challenging but accessible, which I'm always a big fan of. I really, really love when games include accessibility options for all sorts of people who want to experience it. So there's a damage slider that you can turn down for the damage that you receive. So you can do 100% all the way down to 0%. So if you want to be invincible, you can do that. If a boss is giving you a really hard time, for those people who really struggle with extremely difficult action games, there are options available for you to really fine tune and tweak the level of difficulty. Same things with you can make it so that your hypercharge meter is always full, or you can even slow down the game speed. So if there's an enemy that you're having a hard time dodging their attacks, you can slow it down a little bit. If, that's something that you want. I love when games include those accessibility options so they can have that, really tough as nails difficulty for the gamers who really want that, but they have those accessibility options for gamers who might not be able to, reach that level for whatever reason, or who might just want a slightly easier experience. So I always give plaudits and applause for when game developers take the time to make their games more accessible from a difficulty standpoint. I always think that's a good thing. And I shamelessly used it on the last boss. Without the last boss he was not a good time. I really struggled with that one, and I took the damage slider and I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and take that down to 50% and make this manageable. So
bad news bears.
Bad news bears. Yeah. So yeah, I think gameplay in this game is great. Let's see. The levels feel really balanced. There's a good difficulty curve, kind of like Shan was talking about, as it starts off fairly simple, but it ramps up pretty quickly, not just in the boss battles, but the level layouts, the platforming that you have to do. You got to jump off this wall and jump off an enemy, and the platforming challenges are creative and fun. It's just a really nice game gameplay wise, and It's very violent. I'm surprised it got away with a teen rating. I bought the game and I played it, and it's like spraying blood everywhere. There was a decent amount of like gory body horror. And I was like, I don't know how these guys got away with a teen rating, because this definitely should be rated M, but it's not. So give it to your children. It's good for the whole family. But yeah, so there's something really cathartic about the, just kind of cartoonishly silly, over the top ninja violence. Like there's something kind of fun about
Just
that.
tell your kids it's fruit punch.
It's fruit punch.
It's not blood, it's fruit punch.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing. Accessibility options is you can turn off the blood and gore. If you do want to play it with your kids, there's an option in the menu to just turn it off, which I didn't do because that's like the reason I'm here. I want the blood and gore. That's what makes it fun. But you can turn it off if you don't want to give your kids blood and gore. Yeah, so gameplay is super solid. Big fan of that. Visuals and sound. The visuals in this game are top notch for anyone even slightly familiar with the Game Kitchen's pedigree. They are pixel art wizards. So really beautiful pixel art. While they use this kind of like hyper detailed, I wouldn't even call it 32-bit. It's just like really hyper detailed, high fidelity pixel art. Sort of games that come to mind are obviously the Blasphemous games from the same studio. Games like Owlboy, where they're using a color palette, but they're not trying to restrain themselves to like 8-bit, 16-bit or whatever. They're just like going nuts with the pixel art, really making it as in-depth and colorful and beautiful as they want to. And as a difference from their Blasphemous games, which can be kind of dark and dour and, kind of moody, Ninja Gaiden is very bright and colorful and visceral, and it uses a lighter, more vibrant color palette, which was probably really fun for the studio. A little different from things that they've worked on in the recent past. So lots of fun. The character design and deserves a special call out as well. It has a delightful kind of like 80s 90s vibe to it that I'm a big fan of. Like the main character Kenji has this ridiculous like big pompy like curly ponytail that just screams like 90s action hero. I really like it. The demons all have great character designs. It's a really fun, artistically interesting game. So and then the music, obviously by Sergio de Prado, is excellent. It screams early 90s arcade with wailing guitars and fast drum beats and, interesting riffs using it kind of a chiptune soundtrack. It's really fun, really high energy. Every song is a banger. Really good stuff. So, yeah, just a really solid, really great game. Super fun. You should all play it.
Is it on sale?
It is not on sale. I think it was on early. It might actually still be. Sometimes games go early on sale when they launch for like 10% off.
Oh, that's right.
So
this just came out.
It just came out. So it might, if you grab it soon, I think it was on sale for like a week or so after it came out. So by the time this airs, it might not be on sale. But
it's on sale in the way that it is now it is now possible for you to buy it.
Yeah. It is available for purchase. Yeah.
It is available for sale.
It's on sale, but it's not on sale.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll wait till it goes down. I am too broke for that life. But you know what? It sounds fun.
Yeah,
It sounds just like watching the trailer alone, it looks like the fighting and gameplay could be very addicting. Is there haptic feedback on the controller? Because that adds to how addicted I get to games.
It has rumble. Since it's a multi-platform game, it was made for multiple platforms. It doesn't, if you're playing it on Switch or PS5, it doesn't do a lot to really take specific advantage of those platforms' rumble, like haptic feedback features. But it does, obviously use rumble because all games use rumble pretty much. So, that would have been cool. I'm always a big fan of, particularly, I have a Switch 2 and a PS5, and those two consoles make really good use. Some games make really good use of the haptic feedback in those consoles. So it's always, I love to see stuff like that. So, yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons I got so addicted to Mario Kart World and Hollow Knight is that the haptic feedback just makes me want to keep playing. It's not like when you're hitting something, when you're jumping, all of that. It just you're feeling it, and I would fall asleep and like see these games. It gave me the Tetris effect, and I feel like this game could also have that, but I think the haptic feedback feeds into that addictiveness for me.
All right.
I don't know,
So
random.
it looks stylistically beautiful, but they didn't. But the color palette for like the characters versus the background, it looks like it's relatively the same saturation level, and they didn't use any black lines or anything like that to contrast it. Do you feel like you have a hard time parsing your character, the NPCs, against the background during heavy combat or anything like that?
No, I never really found that to be an issue. I feel like most of the characters move a lot, and you're always moving, and the backgrounds are relatively static.
Okay.
And so I think that like looking for movement was how they made that you able to easily distinguish your character and enemy characters from background elements. At least that's how it was for me. So yeah, I never really had a problem where I had difficulty parsing information. I was like, oh my gosh, where did that bad guy come from? It was always pretty clear, which is a hard thing to do. The easiest way to do that is to make your background and your foreground like a different, really contrasting
Saturation.
colors. Yeah, or different levels of saturation. And so the fact that they chose to keep their backgrounds very saturated in color, but are still able to easily parse the information is, not easy to do artistically. So,
well, does the camera always stay anchored to the protagonist, like centered, or?
I mean, no. I mean,
no. So you go off to the side of the camera.
So you can go off to the side. Yeah, it kind of depends. Like if it's scrolling, like it'll scroll with you. But there are a lot of areas where it's like vertical. It's like this is where the ceiling is, and the camera's not going to follow you up towards the ceiling. So a little bit of both. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So it follows you when reasonable, but it doesn't when you're kind of reaching the limits of the level or area. So yeah.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
Looks fun.
Yeah. Anything else before we close it out?
How many hours of gameplay?
Oh, I'm so glad that you asked. So playtime will get you between 6 to 10 hours. There's lots of extra content to tackle. There's lots of like more difficult bonus levels, but if you just kind of want to blast through the main levels, you could probably get it done in 5 or 6 hours. So not super long, but a decent chunk. To give you context, I bought this game like 2 days ago and I beat it yesterday. So it's not super long, but it's a good time. It's available on Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and Windows, and is available for $24.99. So it is a tad on the short side for the price tag, but what's here is a lot of fun. So I'm glad that I bought it.
Eric, you dumbass. We do not do dollars per hours. That is not.
No. I know that
that's
some
not
people
a
do.
real metric.
I know that some people do, which is why I mention it. I don't. I'd rather pay money to have a high quality experience for a less amount of time, which I feel like is what this game is. But there are some people who, dollars for hours is really important. So
you should have like a special Eric rating, like a scale of, okay, dollars per hour, all of that, and decide how all these games rank.
Yeah, my metric is, did I have a really good time with this game while I was playing it? And if the answer is
and
yes,
do I still
then the
have
price
money
tag
at
is
the end?
irrelevant. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mentioned this before, but how I generally feel is like, what is my hype level versus how much does it cost? And if the vibes of the game and my hype level are equal to the cost of the game, that's when I buy it. And so it's not tied to like the amount of content that's in it or the rating or anything like that. And so because of that completely obscure arbitrary metric, I have never been disappointed by how much I've chosen to pay for a game, because it's my own damn fault if I've made a bad decision.
It's your own damn fault.
I'm trying to think of a time when I bought a game.
Are you trying to say fault? No, I
literally
mean
meant fault. It's a demotivational poster in my office or something.
That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
I was trying to think of a time when I bought a game and I brought it home and I was like, man, that wasn't worth the money. Maybe Mirror's Edge. I don't know if you guys ever played Mirror's Edge.
No, I got in a 2 for or a BOGO from GameStop where it was like $15.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's two of them. Yeah, there's the first one that
Yeah.
came out in like 2006 or something, and then there's Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
Catalyst,
maybe?
yeah. So that's when I got, and so I basically got it for like $12-ish. So I assume I won't be disappointed for that.
Yeah, well, my thing with, and this is going to directly fly in the face of what I just said, is that I played the first Mirror's Edge game and it was very short, but I had a decent time with it. But I feel like the story was like just getting going, and then the game just kind of stopped, and I was like, that's it. So it wasn't that the game was short; it's that I felt like it got going too quickly, and then it stopped right when it was getting interesting, and I was like, oh,
And
well,
then-
I guess it's done.
And then it just sort of ends.
Ugh.
He goes out, solves crimes, back home, penetration, out, solves crimes. And then it just sort of ends.
Kind of like this episode. All right, bye everybody.
Bye.
Outro. Bleep-a-doof, bleep-a-deep, bloopity-blow.